Okay, I have moved into the living room now. There's furniture under there that's covered for now, but eventually has to move because the floor is getting refinished. But hey, one thing I have to do is fix some cracks in the ceiling. There's a crack that runs along that way, and then there's a crack right there, and this crack extends to about there. So I've experimented with a few different ways of crack fixing, and I've sort of discovered that they all work depending on the size of your crack. If it's a big crack, I would recommend, cleaning out the crack with a scraper, and then, taping the crack, or, stuffing a bunch of, joint compound in the crack, and then taping over the crack, and then more joint compound on the top, and then, at that point you're just blending into whatever texture you have on your ceiling. I would suggest no texture, but hey, back in the 60s they textured fucking ceilings. So I gotta find a way to blend the fucking ceiling. But that's neither here nor there. So I've studied the cracks that are in here a little bit, and parts of them can just be blended over. Some of them need to be taped. So I'm gonna get to it, and yeah. Oh, by the way, sink and faucet works good. Also works good. Hot water too. Ta-da! So since I'm waiting for joint compound to focus, you bitch. Anyways, like I was saying, since I'm waiting for joint compound or whatnot, spackle, whatever you want to call it, to dry, in the other front rooms, I have to tackle this room. Now, in terms of condition of paint and condition of the walls, aside from the fact that I resurfaced the other half of the house, meaning the bathroom, kitchen, and hallway, these walls are just full of cracks, holes, and bullshit. This right here is a big spot where the plaster that is over the top of the drywall that's under there fell off. It was, I started to peel out of the crack, and then all of a sudden discovered that there were some loose pieces and chunks of the skim coat of plaster on the walls. So I need to decide how I want to take care of that. Obviously, the big crack here I need to tape and mud, like the other, bigger cracks. But I need to take care of that. And on top of that, can't really see, but for whatever reason, oh, there you go. The paint on these walls is all cracked and peeling, so I need to go and peel it all off and stuff. And obviously this is, affectionately known as the pink room, for obvious reasons. So yeah, while the other rooms are drying and before I can do any priming over there, I'm gonna take care of this one. Alright, the drywall mud is still wet, so you can just kind of see it there. Anywhere that there's tape, you usually have to try and retexture it twice. I have a lot of the holes, or actually I should say all the holes and other cracks taped over and mudded. And then I found a surprise. There was an old light switch there, I imagine. It was probably moved from there, to over here, because it, would end up getting shut behind the doors, because the doors open that way. But anyways, instead of, taking the box out, or at the very least making a panel or a piece of drywall to fit inside of there, the previous retards just took some tape. Actually, I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it was actual drywall tape, but it's actually just masking tape that was painted over, not even spackled over, I guess. So yeah, that was an interesting find. Lovely. Luckily, there's no live wires coming up out of there, so that's good, I guess. Ta-da! Took a bit, but I fixed the fucking hole, and there was a nice crack right there as well, so I went ahead and fixed that. And so yeah. You know, I went and cut a piece of my leftover drywall here. There's the tape, and sort of after getting the switch box out of there, made a California type patch to seal that up over there. Okay, so I've prepped the living room as much as I'm going to. I got spots there all covered up. I have my cracks covered up and prepped, and I am ready to paint. The last step that I am going to do is to vacuum and wipe down the ceiling and the walls and paint them. It's boring, so I'm not going to show you the painting process, but that's what I'm going to do. All set. This one too. All right. It's painted. And I have a boob light. If you're wondering, that plug is for a clock. I had never seen one of these before, but apparently it's for a clock because it has a hanger here. So what you do is you would get an old cuckoo clock or something, it would plug into here, and then it would hang off the plug as well. I haven't really decided what I'm going to actually do with it yet. So for now, it's still there. But this room is painted. Got a boob light, as well as this room painted. And there's a boob light too. This room, of course, still looks like bullshit. Yesterday, before I painted that other bedroom, or no, maybe the day before that, I did some more mudding on some cracks and seams and whatnot that it needed, and the room is now about 80% ready. But what I'm going to end up doing is skimming over all the areas where there was the chipped paint, so not to risk having a bunch of sharp edges and stuff in the paint. I figured, I might as well skim those areas so I can guarantee that they'll be smooth, since most people would probably consider this the master bedroom. I figure I'll make it, look presentable up close as well as far away. So I'm going to do a very light skim coat on those areas to smooth out the edges of the chip paint, and so thin that it'll probably be dry, by tonight even. If you're wondering, the paint I've been using is Behr paint. It's the i300 stuff in eggshell. I can't recommend Behr paint more. It has very good coverage, especially if you get the i300. The paint color that I've been going with is called Subtle Touch. It's sort of a mix of a gray, off grayish color, but it's called Subtle Touch. And if you ever painting house, definitely go with Behr, and make sure you get the i300. It has very good coverage. I can't recommend it enough. There's a Behr rep out there. By all means, send me some paint. Any house that I ever own in the future, I'll always use Behr paint, just saying. The primer that I'm going with, or had gone with, is also a Behr product. It's the Kills primer. It's a stain blocker, whatnot. It's a primer sealer, yada. That is also a very good product. Good coverage over most things. There is another level above this, which if I were to do it again, I probably would go with that level. It's an extreme. This is only a slight stain blocker, whatnot. The next level up is a extreme or something stain blocker. I'd probably have gone with that over this, but it's worked out well.